Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a review of the brand new Sunday Riley Influencer Foundation. I've gotten so many requests to review this ever since I showed it in my Sephora VIB sale haul a couple weeks ago, and I've been using it every day since then to get a really good idea of what it's like, so I'll be able to share my thoughts with you today. It's $42, so it's more on the expensive side, and that was why it was really important to me to get a review out there, because I don't want you guys spending your money on something if it's not going to work out for you. And in this case, it's definitely a little different than what the claims are. Not that that's a bad thing, at least for me, but I'll get to that. So anyway, first I'll just talk about the packaging really quickly, go through some of the claims, then I'm gonna do a demo and show you guys how it applies, and then give you my final thoughts at the end. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video. So first of all, this foundation comes in 20 shades, which is actually a pretty decent shade range. It's not the best, but it's definitely pretty good. I started out with shade 140. When I actually saw this in store, they didn't have all 20 shades there. They had a few, and it was either 110 or then it skipped to 140. And 110 said that it had pink undertones, but when I swatched it on my skin, it actually looked very yellow. 140 is supposed to have a neutral undertone, which I would definitely agree with. It's definitely not too pink and not too yellow. It's pretty perfect for my skin actually, so I'm really happy with this shade overall. You get 1.08 ounces in here. It comes in a tube and a pump, so those are two of my favorite packaging things when it comes to foundation, so I'm really happy with the packaging overall. I absolutely love that about it. Let me just read you some of the claims really quickly from the Sephora website. It says, what skin type is it good for? Normal, oily, and combination. And when I saw that on the little sign in store, my heart sank, because I wanted to try this foundation so badly, and I have dry skin that's more normal to dry in the spring and summer, so I thought this is not going to work for me. It says it has a satin to matte finish, which again might be more drying on drier skin types. So I was a little bit disappointed when I read that, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to try it anyway and just see what happens. So it says the Influencer Clean Longwear Foundation redefines the line between skincare and makeup. It provides clean, natural looking, long-lasting coverage that doesn't dry out as the day or night goes on, with a satin matte finish that stays fresh looking even through workouts and humidity. It's available in 20 shades, medium to full coverage, that expertly conceal redness, pores, and dark spots without ever looking cakey. With just one pump, get even skin with ultra natural coverage for fuller coverage and more concealing power that never cracks or creases. Layer as needed without worrying about clogging your pores. No matter what your desired coverage, you are always in control. You still look like you. So let's just jump right into the demo, and as I'm applying it, I'll talk about how it applies and how it feels, etc. So let's just get right into that. So one thing to keep in mind is that this foundation does not have SPF, so I applied a layer of the Coats Face Natural Tinted Primer SPF 40 underneath. It's my favorite SPF. Next, I'm using the Sonia Kashuk Giant Blending Sponge. I've seen Casey Holmes use this, and because it's so large, you can really cover your skin with foundation quickly. It has a really nice, sharp, pointed side that's great for underneath the eyes and in small spaces around your nose. So this foundation has a really lightweight texture. It kind of reminds me of the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye foundation in a way, where it kind of feels like a moisturizer and foundation hybrid. So I actually apply this with my fingers sometimes, and it works out really well, or also with the sponge. I don't necessarily see myself getting any more coverage if I use a brush either, so I just use the sponge because that's my preferred method. I do not believe this is medium to full coverage at all. I think it's more of a sheer to medium. I tend to get medium if I build it up a little bit, but in one pass it's sheer. It has a very natural finish on my skin. I think it looks like skin, which is awesome, because those are the types of foundations I really like. I don't find it clinging to any dry patches or settling into fine lines at all, which is great as well. It does have a satiny finish that, like I said, it looks very much like skin. It doesn't have that really dry matte finish, and it's not luminous either, so it's somewhere right in between that, and I really like that as well. So because this feels really comfortable on my dry skin, I'm wondering why this is marketed toward oily skin types, because I also felt like this didn't completely dry down. So anybody who is not dry would definitely have to set this with a powder, and even then I'm not quite sure if it would last all day or not, or if they would feel it sliding off or breaking up throughout the day. For me, it wasn't a problem. I felt like it did last quite a while on my skin most of the day. I didn't notice it breaking up or oxidizing or doing anything like that. But I think if you are oily, you may not like this one because it does have more of a hydrating feel to it. So when it comes to this foundation, I think there are definitely a few things that are not what they claim to be. The first one being that it's medium to full coverage. I definitely don't get that at all, but I prefer something that's a little bit more sheer to medium because usually I'm not wearing full coverage. I don't necessarily need full coverage, so I really, really like how this foundation applies to my skin. I like how lightweight it is, and I think the natural skin-like finish is just beautiful. Also, long wearing, I would say on me it is, but there are tons of reviews on Sephora's website from people who have combination and oily skin types who said that this slid off of them. It didn't last for an hour, that they really had to heavily set it. So again, I'm kind of confused as to why it's marketed toward oily and combination skin. But for my dry skin, it happens to work really well. It doesn't cling to dry patches. I also saw some reviews that said that it did. I don't know if that's because I'm using the Coats primer, which is a really nice primer and helps to smooth my skin out. And also my skin isn't terribly dry right now because we're at the end of April and my skin is sort of going more towards the normal side. So maybe that's why it's working out well for me. I don't know. But despite all of the negative reviews, I actually really do like this foundation. I just think that it's definitely not going to be for everyone. If you need any more coverage than a sheer to medium, if you build it, you're not going to like this. If you have more oily combination skin, you're probably not going to like this. If your skin is extremely dry, the more satin to matte finish might throw you off a little bit. It might cling to dry patches. But again, being 40 years old, I actually love this type of really natural skin-like finish because I think it's the least aging when it comes to foundations. Anything that's too matte is aging on me, and anything that's too luminous tends to highlight my pores and fine lines and things like that. So this type of finish is what I'm looking for when it comes to foundation. So overall, I love this. I definitely recommend it if your skin is anything like mine, but if it's not, I would say just definitely skip this one. It's not worth it, especially since it is more on the expensive side. Alright guys, so that does it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Also, let me know in the comments below if you've tried this foundation or if you are wanting to try it. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.